Season 4 of The Boys ended with Homelander having basically become the shadow ruler of America, with President Calhoun sitting there while Homelander pulled the real strings. At the same time, Hughie, Frenchie, Mother's Milk, and Kimiko had been captured, while Starlight and Butcher were still out there. On top of that, Gen V had already set up the wider resistance, with Annie building support and bringing in people like Marie and the others. Even A-Train had quietly started helping from the inside. So right away, the season opens with that feeling that the war is already happening, and now everyone is just waiting to see who breaks first. But then the first big scene drops us into this giant watch shareholder event, and it is one of the smartest openings the show has done in a while. Homelander comes down from the ceiling like some kind of messiah, and the whole event is built to make him look larger than life. Everybody's clapping, smiling, and acting like he's not just a superhero, but a chosen one. The stage itself even looks like a giant cross mixed with the American flag, which tells you exactly what the show is doing. Homelander is not just using politics anymore, he is weaponizing faith too. He wants people to see him as a savior, because once people believe that, they stop asking questions. That is what makes this so chilling. He is not satisfied with being feared, he wants devotion. Meanwhile, the truth is that nobody really loves him. That is the real wound inside Homelander, and the show keeps returning to it. He has followers, fans, and people who cheer for him, but deep down, he knows that all of it is built on fear. Even Ryan does not want to be around him. That loneliness is what makes him so unstable in these episodes. Because now he has the power he always wanted, but it still does not fill the hole inside him. After that, the first major attack against him happens when Starlight's people manage to leak the Flight 37 footage. This should be one of the biggest blows imaginable, because it reveals one of Homelander's most damning crimes. It should destroy his image and turn the public against him. But then, the show hits us with one of its sharpest ideas. The truth is not enough anymore. Sister Sage steps in and immediately reframes it as fake AI content. And just like that, the real footage becomes another argument on the internet. People believe what they want to believe. That is the point. Homelander's supporters do not need the lie to be convincing. They just need it to protect the version of reality they already prefer. That is why this scene matters so much. It shows that Homelander is not just protected by power, he is protected by misinformation. Meanwhile, Annie's situation is getting worse. Her resistance is clearly losing people. Safe houses are empty, and the cost of fighting back is starting to crush her. This is where her arc becomes really interesting, because you can feel her slowly moving closer to Butcher's way of thinking. In the past, Annie always wanted to do the right thing the right way. But now, she is watching innocent people gone while she survives because she is stronger than they are. That guilt is starting to change her. She is becoming more pragmatic, more willing to sacrifice, and more willing to accept that maybe the clean path is gone. That shift is important because it shows how even one of the show's most moral characters is being pulled into darker territory. Meanwhile, inside the camps, the mood is bleak. Hughie, Frenchie, and MM are locked up in a place that is part prison, part political re-education center, and part concentration camp parody. The details there are disturbing in exactly the way The Boys likes to be disturbing. There are what ads everywhere, patriotic branding, and even slogans that turn freedom into something sinister. The inmates are dressed up in ways that make them look like forced followers of the very regime imprisoning them. It is cruel, absurd, and deeply on brand for this world. The camp is not just about keeping people contained, it is about humiliation and control. Hughie stands out here because, even in this nightmare, he still tries to give people hope. That becomes one of the big contrasts of the season. Homelander cannot understand why people would risk everything for someone like Hughie, because Hughie has no powers, no status, and no intimidation factor. But that is exactly why he matters. He still has humanity, he still cares, he still stops for other people. In a world full of monsters and survivors, that makes him almost strange. But then Homelander personally enters the camp situation, and the horror level goes up fast. He already knows about the escape plan, and instead of stopping it right away, He lets it play out just enough so he can enjoy crushing it. That tells you everything you need to know about where he is mentally. He does not just want to win, he wants to destroy hope itself. He wants people to feel foolish for believing escape was possible. At the same time, another huge thread is building through Butcher. He may still be fighting Homelander, but these episodes make it painfully clear that the line between them is shrinking. Butcher is now fully focused on the Supe virus, and he is willing to lie, manipulate, and sacrifice anyone necessary to make it work. He even misleads Samir by blaming Homelander for incidents that are more complicated than that. That is the part nobody can ignore anymore. Butcher is becoming a mirror of the enemy he hates. He is still easier to root for because we know where his pain comes from, but the methods are getting uglier by the minute. After that, one of the biggest plot points kicks in with Soldier Boy. Homelander brings him back because, at his core, Homelander still wants a father. He wants someone strong enough to stand above everyone else and still choose him. It is twisted, childish, and sad all at once. Soldier Boy's return gives the season another unstable force, because this is not a man you can control through emotion or image. He brings chaos into an already cracked system. Meanwhile, the boys decide that if they are going to finish the virus, they need to test it on someone worthy, and Soldier Boy becomes the perfect subject. He was the most powerful Supe before Homelander, which means if the virus can end him, maybe it can end Homelander too. That leads to one of the nastiest and most important sequences in the first 2 episodes. The virus is unleashed, bodies start breaking down, skin blisters, and people suffer horribly. For a moment, it looks like the plan worked. Soldier Boy drops, and everyone assumes he's done. But then the worst part arrives. At the end, Soldier Boy sits back up. That moment changes everything, because now the big question is not just whether he survived, it is what that survival means. If the virus could not fully end Soldier Boy, then maybe Homelander really is more untouchable than ever. Or maybe there is something unique in Soldier Boy's version of V that gives him immunity. Either way, the plan that was supposed to be the answer suddenly looks uncertain. Meanwhile, Episode 1 also delivers its most emotional blow through A-Train. This was honestly one of the strongest parts of the premiere. A-Train started the show as a selfish, careless man whose actions destroyed Hughie's life. Since then, the show has slowly, quietly rebuilt him into someone trying to become better. Not perfect, but better. And in these episodes, he finally steps into that redemption. He saves people, he helps the resistance, and when the moment comes, he chooses courage instead of fear. Then Homelander catches him. What makes that confrontation so powerful is that A-Train does not do any begging. He dies telling the truth. He tells Homelander that without his powers, he is nothing. That cuts deeper than any punch because it hits the exact insecurity Homelander can never escape. A-Train laughs at him, and for once, Homelander cannot talk his way around it. He just breaks. Then he ends him. It is tragic, but it is also the perfect ending for A-Train. He finally dies as the hero he once pretended to be. Episode 2 picks up with the fake funeral for A-Train, and that whole sequence is such a good example of how rotten Vought is. They turn it into propaganda immediately. They rewrite the story, push a new lie, and stage this glossy religious performance around it. Nothing is allowed to be real, not even grief. That is also where you can see Homelander slipping further, because now every public event is just one more act in a world he controls but does not emotionally understand. Meanwhile, Ashley becomes more interesting too. She is now higher up, more powerful on paper, but still trapped in the same nightmare system. She knows how dangerous Homelander is, knows how close everyone is to becoming disposable, and yet she keeps going because fear has hollowed her out. Her scenes with Sister Sage are especially good because they show 2 different ways people survive under monsters. Ashley survives by panicking and adapting. Sage survives by trying to outthink the chaos. But even Sage is beginning to realize that Homelander cannot truly be managed forever. Back with the boys, Frenchie and Kimiko get some quieter moments that help ground the season. Kimiko speaking more now feels strange at first, but it works because it shows healing mixed with trauma. She still carries the horror of what happened to her, and the virus especially terrifies her because it caused pain so extreme that it was one of the few times she actually wanted it to be ended forever. Frenchie, on the other hand, wants to escape. He wants to run, disappear, and save the person he loves. But Kimiko understands that there may be no clean escape left. That difference in mindset makes their scenes more emotional. By the time these two episodes end, the season's real shape is clear. Homelander has never had more power, but mentally he is closer than ever to collapse. Butcher has never been more committed, but morally he is drifting into monster territory. Annie is becoming harder. is worn down. Frenchie and Kimiko are trying to hold on to something human. Hughie is still the heart of the group, and Soldier Boy is now a giant question mark that could blow everything open. That is what makes these opening episodes so strong. They do not just restart the show, they sharpen every conflict. They take all the lies, guilt, fear, and power that have been building for years and push them into one ugly, explosive direction. This is not a victory lap for the final season. This is the beginning of a collapse. And if this is how The Boys starts its final run, then honestly, the worst part is still waiting for us. So yeah, drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you guys think. And don't forget to subscribe to get more amazing content from your favorite channel.